Okay.
Okay. All right, I have 7 p.m., so I will call the meeting to order. It's September 12th, 2024. Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Roll call.
Flores?
Here.
Gonzalez? Here. Hussein? No. Jost? No. Mesacek?
Here.
Pelletier here. Puzo? Here.
Thank you. Okay. Public comments, agenda items only. That would be you. That would be our public. Anything on the agenda you would like to make a comment on?
No, I'm just here to observe.
Great. Okay. All right. All the eyes were looking at me. Yeah. Is there anything that anyone would like to pull off the consent agenda? Then I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda, which includes the regular board meeting minutes from August 8th, 2024, the executive session minutes, August 8th, 2024, and the financial reports for August 2024.
Second.
Thank you. Hey, Tamara. Sorry. No worries.
Okay. We are voting on the consent agenda. Gonzalez?
Yes.
Jost?
Yes.
Mesacek?
Yes.
Pelletier, yes. Puzo?
Yes.
Flores?
Yes.
Okay. President's report. Well, I know I said this last month, but I have to say it again. Suzanne, we will miss you. And we wish you nothing but the best in this next chapter, and safe travels, and hope you enjoy everything that is to come. It's only sunny skies and good things. So,
Thank you.
you know, all the best. And keep in touch. Drop us a line every now and then.
Yeah.
I will.
All right. Okay. Committee reports. We did finance under the consent agenda. Facilities. We'll kind of briefly touch on with the budget, because some of that is kind of discussed, but policy, the next meeting I think is...
Everything's scheduled here.
Okay, not scheduled yet.
Yeah, we haven't
That's-
scheduled yet, but it will be coming up.
Yeah, okay. Staff reports, is there anything that you would like to, highlight? Hey, Mohammed. No worries. Anything you'd like to highlight?
I just wanted to point out, again, some statistics, as we've been saying, lots of use in the building, you know, circ stats down a little bit, but still people coming in and like I said, really busy. I did also want to say that going forward, the reports will pretty much be just text and not pictures, in order to make sure that so there was a new law that was passed to make sure that your websites, like public websites, and everything associated with them is compliant, digitally accessible. So we're working on making sure that our website is digitally accessible. We have a lot of things that we'll have to go back and make digitally accessible. So one of the things that has been recommended is that you pare down the things that are like PDFs, because PDF documents are difficult for like screen readers to read, those kinds of things. So, so the first step in kind of making that more digitally accessible, the reporting process, the reporting stuff is, they'll just be words now, not fun pictures. So, but all of the pictures that everyone takes is on the library's Flickr account, so you can still see all those photos. But I just wanted to point that out if you wondered why all of a sudden there was going to be no pictures in the reports going forward. So.
I'd like to highlight that filing dates for the 2025 consolidated election are highlighted under Pam's staff reports, everything's just basically kind of moved up a month.
Yeah, like a month.
Yeah.
So I am aware of one potential candidate. It was someone who had applied when we appointed Muhammad and Mark.
Yeah.
So,
I met one this weekend.
okay.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
This might be the same person.
It
reached out to
possibly.
me, but-
Possibly, but, so I won't know until, no one has contacted me about more information. I know that some people have reached out to other people, but,
Yeah.
once the filing date is passed, I'll contact the village to get that list, just so we have an idea.
Mhm. Okay. Any questions?
Yeah, going back to the texting, are the stats pages, is that gonna go to just text, or is that still gonna be?
This stats page,
Yeah.
what Karina does, no, that'll stay the
Okay.
same, so, but like the reporting, cause that just pulls out the statistics that are already in my statistics,
Yeah.
Spreadsheet, so that's fine, it's just that one of the things they recommend is that like, everything on your website should be a web page. Well, it's like, for my part of the web page, which is all the board stuff, the documents, the minutes, all of that, it's really difficult to make those just web pages,
Yeah.
they're PDFs, so, one of the recommendations is getting away from some of those pictures and that kind of thing in the PDF documents, but that particular Karina's stats page will still keep getting that, so, cause it's not distinct, it's not
Yeah.
separate that they can't get that information other places, it's just prettier, so.
It is pretty.
Yeah, it was a new law that was recently passed, so, for libraries that serve populations, I believe of under 50,000, they have until April of 27 to comply, to make your websites accessible. And all of your third-party vendors, you're supposed to, it's crazy. And then for libraries with populations over that, they have till April 2026, unless someone files suit, and then we would have to start doing that within 6 months. So no one has filed suit or anything, but there are some libraries in the area that have gotten civil suits filed against them. So we've all become really aware of this, and so we're all working on making it digitally acceptable.
Okay. Any other questions for Pam? Okay. Nothing under unfinished business. New business is the first reading of the 2025 budget. And I'll let you
As I do every year, and I apologize for my voice, I've been sick all week. I outlined my suggested levy increase and why I thought we needed that. So I can, highlight either particular budget lines. We can go through line by line if the board wants to do that. The big increases would be in wages. It was, be my recommendation to bump everyone up to their mid-range, as I've outlined in my notes. That we've worked really hard to get people's salaries up so they're comparable to our area libraries, which are the libraries that we compete with for talent. So, but as I also noted, almost everyone is still well under the midpoint for their range, and so it has been difficult we're always playing catch up then, so this would give us an opportunity to kind of start in a good place. So going forward, we were able to not make those mid-year adjustments, not see the drastic increases in salaries that we've seen some of the previous years to get people up to a level that's more commensurate with their abilities, education level, competition in the area and that sort of thing. So we're also anticipating increase in staff hours. We just found out last week, and sometime within the last week and a half that we have been approved to provide passport acceptance services. So it's pretty labor intensive, so we're looking to increase the hours of a couple people in the access services department / circulation.
Are they part-time employees?
So what, there's a couple different things happening. A couple of part-time employees were looking to increase their hours. One part-time employee we would look to make them full-time. And then and facilities, we would be adding another part-time person. So that's where we're looking to increase the staff hours for that. So passport services will require people to actually be away from the circulation desk. Right now, the license plate renewal services, they can offer that right at the desk. It's a pretty quick transaction.
Right.
Obviously, with passports, it's a little bit more involved. So we will be doing it with an appointment system, but that will require staff to be, we're probably planning on doing it out of this room. So,
Okay.
so they're actually away from the desk. So when they're doing that, they
Be another person.
yeah. So we still need the same number of bodies to do all of the other regular sorts of things that happen out of access services. So, so that's why we're seeing the need for those increase in hours as we, start to provide more services. Somewhat related to that, I also mentioned that I bumped up the revenue for passport services under miscellaneous income. We'll have to adjust the budget through resolution once we kind of get that all worked out. So similar to other budget adjustments we've made in the past, like when we did the renovation, and I think we did one last year because of the personal property replacement tax. But libraries that offer this service, their income from passport acceptance services has ranged from $7,000 a year to $150,000 a year.
Oh, wow.
So that's a library that does passport services as a drop-in basis, and they did over the past couple of years, they've done over $4,000 each year at a $35 fee per.
Wow.
And so we're not doing a drop-in, we're gonna do it by appointment. And so I told some libraries that also do it by appointment, and they average about $85,000
Wow.
a year. So I anticipate that income will be higher than I've budgeted for, but since this is new, I didn't want to be overly ambitious. I'd rather plan low and make that adjustment that we've got more money coming in than planned for in the year. So
So the passport, what's our investment in that?
just the staff time.
That's it?
Mm-hmm.
We don't have to buy the camera, we don't have to buy.
We're not doing pictures, we're just accepting the passports and
Just
making
to-
sure.
What does that mean,
Yeah.
acceptance service?
That means that people have to come in with their applications already filled out.
And their picture.
And their picture. And then we make sure they have everything, we process it all, and then we send it on to the passport, to the State Department, basically. So, someone has to do that. You can't just do that yourself, pretty much. So you have to do it through like a passport acceptance facility. There's training that happens from the State Department. And, right now we've got, I think, 10 people on staff that have taken the training. It was several hours, the training that had to happen. And so that was back in April, and it took so long. So, they're gonna kind of recertify, if you will. And then we anticipate right now that we might be able to start it sometime towards the end of October, but Jeff and I are still talking about that. But in terms of investment, since we're not doing the pictures, the biggest thing is we are required to keep paper copy of like things that we've sent on, so like a file cabinet that locks kind of thing.
But they don't get the forms here.
Mm-mm. I mean, we could print them out for them because they can get them online, but we don't. Yeah.
Okay.
Basically, it's exactly what it says, is we accept the passports, make sure they have everything that they need, and then forward it on.
Okay.
So yes, so our investment is really the staff time, because it is, like I said, unlike license plate sticker renewal, it's pretty, I mean, we're right now planning on giving ourselves a lot of time for the appointments, which Jeff is talking about an hour. That seems like long.
Oh, wow.
But I think, some of it is just so that, and I anticipate that if that hour will quickly go down to probably about a half an hour each. So, yeah. So I mean, we'll just have to see how many we do, so, but, you know, one of the requirements from the State Department is, they tell you, they want you to do it kind of all hours that you're open. I don't think they think about libraries, you know, that's kind of the 9 to 9 that we have to do this. We're probably gonna do it like 10 to 8, that kind of thing. So our goal is to really make sure that there's always someone here on staff that can do it. It's gonna be through appointment. We're gonna set it up on the website, so people can make appointments online.
7 days a week?
Mhm.
And this is only initial, right, not renewals?
I think it's either one.
Oh, nice.
So that would be the investment. So going forward, I anticipate that money will be greater, our revenues will be greater than I budgeted for, but again, I wanted to start out really low just because I don't know quite what that's gonna look like yet as we work through it, and then, you know, we can make those adjustments. So wages was where the big increase comes for next year. Health insurance is more. As I said, the two, I'm kind of jumping all over, let me take a step back.
That's
So,
okay, and I don't think unless someone disagrees, I don't think we need the line by line, I would
Yeah.
like
highlight the
highlight
areas.
the areas that are.
Large.
that are-
So
yeah.
wages was a big one, and then, you know, commensurate to that would be slightly higher IMRF, just because, you know, as I said, the rate for next year, the IMRF rate for next year is lower than this year, but with the increase in hours, that kind of offsets that. And then, of course, we have that very high annual payment for the MRF payment for the other retirement vehicle that we no one, as my write-up says, that no one can join it, but we're still paying for people that are retired. So we're only seeing about a $10,000 increase next year in overall retirement costs because the IMRF rate is lower, so that helps offset some of that. Another bigger increase is in health insurance. As I've said, you can see what we've charged staff the past few years. Prior to 2022, it was even lower than $30 per person per month. But for 2024, I'm changing that, so no matter which plan employees participate in, it will be 10% per month, which is still low. And health insurance costs are going up 8.03% next year after going up 8.06% last year. So in the past couple of years, obviously, it's a 16.5% increase. So that is, you know, obviously a substantial cost. So as I've also said, this year they started offering a high deductible HSA plan. When Suzanne and I looked at it, it really wasn't going to save us a ton of money, and it was really both labor intensive for us to set up, and it would have required additional costs because it came with a health savings account component, and so you have to have someone that manages that health savings account. So there's a cost associated with that, like our flex spend account, right? We have to pay a monthly fee for that. So when we looked at everything, it wasn't really cost effective, and it was a lot of work for us as the employer, and then it would have placed a greater burden on the staff member as well. Obviously, you know, every year that our health insurance consortium, you know, actually kind of goes out and they look at the plans and they make the recommendations if we have to go to a different vendor or a different, you know, provider or whatever. But I anticipate that the high deductible plan will be something that they continue with, and we'll continue to explore whether or not that becomes more cost effective for us as an option to share with staff. So, but for next year we decided it wasn't significant. The savings were not significant at all. So those are really the biggest areas of increases. Everything else has pretty much stayed relatively the same, and with this budget, I was able to meet all of the department manager requests for their budgets. So, you know, if you read it over, all the monies for like collections, those kinds of things were all the dollar amounts that were recommended by the manager. Then obviously the other big one is always the building improvements. As we've discussed, the goal is to do bathrooms next year, the east side, the carpet, the stairs going down into youth services on the east end, and then Baxter Room, depending on the funds. So that dollar amount hasn't gone up significantly from this year, but I believe that I did budget for another like 20 or 30,000 over last year. So, but you know, as we've discussed in previous months, you know, these are all things that we need to address as going forward. One of the things that we're kind of waiting on is some potential HVAC duct work and alarm work that we may have to do. Kind of, you know, I'm a little bit leery about that. So we don't have any idea what that could potentially cost yet. So and how soon it might need to be done.
How many,
I
which one of the 5,000 HVAC?
I don't know.
Okay.
So it's, you know, it's always an adventure when you've got 11 units on the roof. So yeah, so there's some potential building costs that, you know, we're having to potentially deal with as well, but we'll see. So we're waiting for the engineers at Midwest Mechanical, our HVAC people, to get some idea about what's going on a little bit more. I think other than that, like I said, if there's any other increases, they're you know, they're not significant. Those are really the areas that we were really looking at potentially higher cost or higher expenditures than this year. So
Under building maintenance, at one point we had talked about updating your office. Any thoughts on doing that or postponing?
you know, it's always in the back of my mind. If there's a limited amount of funds, I'd rather put that money towards public spaces. So, I mean, my office is functional and it's, you know, fine for now. So I think, you know, some of it might be too, you know, we could choose to do some different things or some additional things if we find that we're getting more money from the passport acceptance services too. We could put some of that money towards the office. I'm a little bit reluctant to make a lot of changes just to my office because ultimately, I know it's been part of my goals, but I'd like to look at this entire floor and because there's a lot of room and it's not particularly well designed, you know, so you know, if we're gonna make any changes, I'd like to be able to approach that on a little bit more holistic basis, or a holistic approach instead of just spending a bunch of money on spending some money on redoing mine and then, you know,
Yeah, just
3 or
doing it piecemeal
Right.
and saying, oops, we could have.
Right, we could have done all these different things, kind of like, you know, with the renovation of the lower level. It's like, you know, have someone come in that can say, you know, say, here's what you can do, because I'm not good at visualizing some of those things. So, so we'll have to see. That to me, that kind of always takes the back burner to redoing spaces that are more public facing. So.
The $150,000, the loan, that's the original, that's the principal, correct? I mean, that's what for the renovation.
The
The
Okay.
154.6?
So that's what the annual cost is.
Oh.
So the original loan was $747,000 basically.
So this is what's,
So this $154,000 is the cost of the loan for the year. That we paid $12,888 a month towards the loan, which it contains the principal and the interest. And that amount is the same every month.
okay,
So that $154,600 is
what you're gonna pay to pay the
for
loan?
that, yeah, that'll be our loan payment for this
For the
year.
year.
Mhm.
So what's the balance of, you don't
The
know?
balance,
Okay.
I actually looked after we talked about this, so it's probably less now. I think the balance on it right now is about 400,000-ish.
Okay,
I can get you that exact. I think when I looked like a month and a half ago, it was like 423 or something like that.
I'm just trying to figure it out.
It should be paid off in 2027, so. obviously we could, you know, one of the things we could consider, depending on funding and other building priorities and those kinds of things, if the board ever wanted to consider, we could look at and find out like what an early payment off would be, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But it's relatively easy to budget for it this way, and because it doesn't change, so I don't have to worry about, you know, is it gonna be more, is it gonna be less?
Oh, right,
kind of
right,
thing.
right, right, right.
So, and right now, we do have so many other, particularly related to the building needs, that, you know, does it make sense to take that chunk of money and put it towards the loan when we know that we've got, you know, $350,000 of new building stuff that we wanna do next year,
Yeah.
so. And I think, like I said, I think I highlighted the things that have significant changes in them.
Yeah, your notes were really helpful.
Yeah.
As always.
So, and obviously this is, I guess that going forward, then the guidance I would look to the board for would be, do you want me to make any changes to this? And basically, what is your thinking about my suggested levy increase? So that I can prepare the final documentation of October, so where the board is coming down and so I know how to
Yeah.
move forward.
Based on the priority to get everyone to midpoint, adjustment for staff hours to provide the services that we know our patrons will utilize, and for the building improvements that we know need to be done, I think you prepared it well. I mean, I know you always try and be as thoughtful as possible. You know,
I do, and my hope would be, you know, it's always hard to tell, right? I mean, things can change in the economy and different things like that, but, you know, it's been a chaotic couple of years and stuff with inflation and different things, but, you know, as you said, I try to be really mindful and not ask for anything beyond what we really need to run the library. I mean, we don't have a lot of extra. There's not a lot of fat in the budget, really, I don't think. And we may have an opportunity to keep the budget flat if some of those passport acceptance fees, if some of that stuff brings in more money than anticipated, then, you know, in subsequent years, that gives us a little bit more room to be more conservative with levy increases and those kinds of things.
Mhm.
So, you know, I'm also trying to kind of think about what does this look, I mean, you know, maybe there's a little bit of a pain point next year, but does that mean the, you know, following couple of years will be a little bit less aggressive?
right. Anyone else have any thoughts?
I share yours.
Same.
So I would say that, you know, if something occurs to someone and they want to see me, you know, work up some other budget numbers, to let me know
Mhm.
and email or whatever, and then, I'll just proceed that way then.
Yeah. In a perfect world, I'm sure we would love to be able to do everything we want to do and have a flat levy, but it doesn't always work that way. So, I don't want to rush anyone. Does anyone have any thoughts or any questions with the budget?
You know, strategic plan, everybody we surveyed, what was the number one thing that they all loved about this library? That they all praised it was staff.
Yeah.
Have to keep the staff content.
Yep.
Good point. Yeah, thank you. If anything comes up with anyone, or anyone's kind of looking at this will be something that we are looking at again and again. You know, please email Pam with any thoughts. I know that this takes time and energy, so thank you for preparing all the notes and everything to go with it, as thoughtfully as you did. Not cutting anybody off. Okay. All right, communications.
There's no separate communications, but I did give everyone
Thank you, yeah.
the document from Rails.
It's actually
which,
really interesting, so everyone please.
Yeah,
read
if you've
through
not
that.
read it, it is really interesting because it talks about kind of the impact of libraries in general, but particularly in Illinois. And I think that in general, we have a lot to be proud of in the state. And so, yeah, I thought it was pretty interesting.
Everyone please, make sure that you've read through, Pam's progress with her goals.
Yes,
Thank you
thank
for
you.
including that. That's always a helpful reference point.
And just, I know Suzanne introduced Leighton, but Leighton Shell will be our new business manager, so he'll be taking over for Suzanne. And there's been some overlap, so I feel like he's settling in okay. So far, he's coming back every day, so that's good.
That's a good start.
Leighton actually has quite a bit of library experience. He was a former library director.
Really?
So,
All
yeah,
right.
so it will be, it's helpful.
Good.
So it's nice to have someone come in that you don't have to teach the library side of things to, because there was a lot of that, and Suzanne can attest to that. Learning all of that kind of stuff can be a little bit overwhelming, so we don't have to worry about some of that stuff with Leighton. So
Great.
and that level of experience will be really helpful as we do, especially things like human resources and those kinds of things. So yeah.
We're excited to have you.
Thank you very much.
Maybe you can come up with the secret of people reading their emails. That was an awesome.
If you haven't, so we just did an Instagram video, and it's of Suzanne. She was thinking it was going to be internal because we have to send her reminders to people to read your emails. And so it's really cute. She's popping up at various unexpected places with the sign saying, "Read your email, read your email." It's really cute.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
A reminder that next month's meeting is October 17th, not the 10th. And same time, same place. Public comments, non-agenda items.
Look at me. I'm the public again. This is
Yeah.
nice. If I can just make a comment. First of all, I'm thoroughly enjoying this. And I don't know who said it. I think it was you about the customers making such good comments about the employees. I'm retired, I work part-time at Heinen's up in Glenview,
Yeah.
and that's their whole thing. If you make the employees happy, the customers will be thrilled, and it exactly works. So, I don't know who you said that, okay? Hear, hear. It's a good comment to make, and yeah, this has been interesting. This has been interesting.
Well, thanks for coming. You're welcome to come back anytime. So.
Yes, I'm thinking about the position. One of the
Yeah.
I wanted to see what happened here.
Absolutely.
It's always good to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you have any further questions, feel free to reach out to me.
I will do that.
Or,
I will do
whatever,
that.
and so,
I will do that.
Yeah.
I
I love this library. I live across the street. I love this library, so it's had a chance to give back, a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm talking too much. But
No,
too many public comments.
No, not at all. No, those were all great public comments, and yeah, we love our staff, and any chance we have to support them and bolster them so they can feel confident and supported to go out and do what they do best, which is support our library and our patrons.
Yeah.
That's
They've always been lovely. Any person I have talked to coming into
Good.
this place has always been an absolute delight. Very helpful, and I'm sort of surprised, being an older person myself, how many insane questions they get when people come in. Do you know where I left my wallet? And they're always calm and, oh sure, I think it's in your purse. Oh yeah, all right, I got it. Anyway, thank you for letting me be here.
No, thank you for coming.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah, and like I said, if you have any additional
I
questions
probably
about library
will.
stuff,
I probably
please feel
will.
free to reach out.
Yeah, great. All right, everyone. Well, even with the first reading of the budget, that was quite condensed. So at 7:33